What a random fact could save your life one day? If a tornado looks like it's not moving, it's moving towards you. I worked for a short time in a bowling alley as a mechanic in the back. On these models, there is a big arm on each machine that rotates, dropping the pin setter down and back up. The force is so strong that my boss showed me by putting a pin in its way. The arm smashed right through the pin and tore it in half, splintering everywhere. It didn't slow down. Do not run and slide into the pins as a joke and get smashed to death. Need to break a car window? Aim for the edges, corners, not the center, where the glass is strongest. Was taught this by a friend who is a fireman. Was taught by a serious salesman. If you get lost and have a cell phone, but it says you have no signal, try dialing 911 anyway. Thanks to the FCC, emergency calls will go through any possible connection. This includes all networks, not just your career, emergency service channels, and even any available private networks, forestry, mining, military, ranching, etc. 911. This is 911. What's your emergency? Me? Lost in the wilderness. Tell my mom I'm not gonna be home on time for dinner. Also, if you are in a country where you don't know the emergency number, try 911 or 999 or 112 or whatever your country's emergency number is. Common emergency numbers will usually still connect to emergency services in other countries with other numbers. Ideally, learn the number where you are, but if you haven't and need emergency services, just dial what you know. If you are ever being chased by a polar bear, take off an article of clothing and leave it on the ground as you run away. Polar bears have really bad ADD, and they will thoroughly inspect your dropped clothing before chasing you again. In these instances, your decision is if you want to be mauled to death or to die of hypothermia. Would they be more interested in a Gucci jacket or a North Face? For hypothermia, shaking sucks but we'll be okay. Keep warm, silent and falling asleep, bad. The body is giving up. And if they are taking their clothes off, really bad. People in the final stages of hypothermia engage in paradoxical undressing because, as they lose rationality and their nerves are damaged, they feel incredibly, irrationally hot. They strip off their clothes to cool themselves down as they are freezing to death. If you are in a pool and there is a metallic taste in your mouth, get out of said pool. There is an electrical short somewhere in the water. You need to chew an aspirin if you take one thinking you are having a heart attack. Does aspirin help during a heart attack? Never heard of it, so it is good to know. It works by reducing platelets. Clotting ability is generally one get rid of the clot that's formed in your heart, but should reduce further clotting. The old standard was 4 by 81 mg aspirin. Now it's 2 by 81 mg. 2 small blue ones. If you ever get stuck in a rip current, don't panic and try to swim directly back to the shore. Instead, swim parallel to the shore until you are out of the current. Waves crashing at the beach is normal. One patch of calm-looking water with waves breaking on either side is not. That's where the riptide is. Brown coconuts contain oils that cause dehydration, so drink the milk of the green coconuts. However, you can burn the husks of the brown coconuts to repel mosquitoes. If you come across a mountain lion, never turn your back towards them. They won't stalk or attack if they see your eyes, face. Was watching a show where they had to stay in the wilderness alone. The guy wore a beanie that had fake eyes in the back to keep the mountain lions away. Is this a legit threat? If so, that's honestly next level right there. Yes, some tribes in Africa do this with masks. They wear them backwards to keep away predators. People in one region of India did it for a while because of tigers, but the tigers learned. Read this one here long ago, and luckily haven't needed it yet, but if your poop or vomit looks like coffee grounds, go to the hospital immediately. It could mean you're bleeding internally. What if I threw up because I ate a pound of coffee grounds? Then please seek out the next psychiatrist. The International Morse Code SOS is 3 short, 3 long, 3 short. If all you can do is tapping, then you have to add longer pauses between your long taps to distinguish them from short taps. Edit. My grandpa taught this to me when I was 6. It always stuck with me. If you have a firearm in the wild, 3 shots spaced 5 seconds apart will signal distress. Let's say that an overhead power transmission line fell down near you, and the ground is live with several thousand to a few 100,000 volts, and somehow you are still standing. In order to get away, don't walk or run, bunny hop or slowly shuffle, keeping your feet touching. Electricity flows based on difference of potential. If you walk, then the distance from the source of the electricity between your 2 feet will be enough difference of potential to shock you. But if you bunny hop away or shuffle with your 2 feet, staying in contact with each other, then you might just get away unscathed. Always keep a standard or survival candle in your vehicle. In colder climates, the heat from one candle is enough to keep you from freezing to death for as long as it's lit. Some survival candles last as long as 36 hours. Never ever just rip open a door. If there is fire on the other side, guess where it's going to come? Feel the door handle with the back of your hand. The reason is, if it's hot, you'll instinctively pull your hand away, and any potential burn is on the back. If you grab the handle normally, the burn is on the inside of your hand, reducing your ability to grip things. As firefighters, we are taught to search rooms with the back of our hand, primarily because of potential electric currents. If you grab an electric outlet and get electrified, your muscles will contract and you will not be able to release the outlet. If you touch the outlet with the back of your hand, you will automatically retract your hand. If any room in the house has a strong scent of fish, check the outlets. Checking the outlets and plugging out whatever the hell is plugged in there could save your life from an electrical fire. This actually happened to me recently. Melting plastic can give off an odor very similar to fish, and I actually thought something died in one of our vents. After researching this smell, it was suggested that I go around the entire house, filling the wall outlets. Sure enough, one was hot to the touch, and after removing the unit, I found where the wires had burned through their insulation and began to melt the plastic. One of the first signs of a heart attack that is not often talked about is a serious upset stomach. For us with anxiety, it's an everyday affair. I was driving home with my dad about a month ago, and we encountered a few deer. My dad said to me, "Quizzica, if a deer is running across the road, to just hit it, then to swerve and end up in the ditch. But if there is a moose that's in the road, swerve and go into the ditch." Hitting a moose is like hitting a brick wall. I don't think he's ever hit a moose in his life, and I've never seen a moose in the wild, but it's still advice that could help me later. The self-Heimlich. If you like eating alone, then people won't help you. If you are choking, place a fist on the top of a chair and lean into the fist, then drive your fist towards yourself by thrusting upwards. If you've been lost in the wilderness for days, upon your rescue, do not try and down all the food and water inside. The shock to your system can be fatal. Repeating syndrome for those curious. If you are at the beach and sea suddenly withdraws, run the f*** away from the beach ASAP. A tsunami is coming. If you can see the wave, you are too late. Those are in mountains. Hans Zimmer plays in the background. The rule of threes. You can survive 3 minutes of severe bleeding without breathable air or in icy water. You can survive 3 hours in extreme heat or cold. You can survive 3 days without drinkable water. You can survive 3 weeks without edible food. So don't off yourself on day 20 without food. You've got 1 more day of survival. If you are in an enclosed space like a room and smell roasted almonds, but no one is roasting almonds, you need to get out. That's what cyanide smells like. Thanks a lot for watching, and don't forget to watch other videos.